What's up? It's your girl Sammie B, and this is Talk About It Tuesdays. Hashtag TAT. First things first, let's just cover the fact that I understand my nose is severely burnt. I mean, burnt. I mean, to the point it looks like my nose is a pig in a blanket without the blanket. So let's get that out of the way. I know, I see that. My nose is burnt, yes. I got some sun today. We love the sun, we don't love the burn. So, the guest for today is in the building. So, alright, we've got RRAREBEAR. RRAREBEARBEATS is his handle. You're gonna want to follow him. But we have a really dope person here that, like, you guys have to... You have to know him. I have a feeling that a lot of my followers do not know him, and so this is great because you're gonna get to know him tonight. Somebody said, yo, Mike, my nose is so burnt. So bad. Alright, so let's see. I'm going to definitely, RRAREBEAR, if you could just send the request to join me live. I'm going to light some Palo Santo. Love, light, positive energy. Blessings to you too, Star Play Attractions. I really appreciate that you coming out here every Tuesday. Same to you, Mike. Thank you for pulling up. You guys pull up heavy, and I appreciate that more than you know. Alright, here we go. Are you ready? I don't think you're ready. Alright, let's see. Accept. Here he is.
Yo.
Hey.
What's up?
What up? So yeah, to get it out of the way, my nose is very sunburnt right now. I will just, yeah. It's giving.
You're from New York, right?
Yes, it was a beautiful day. I had to be outside.
I was actually doing the same thing. I'm from Albany.
Oh,
You're from Newburgh, right? You're not that far from me.
Yeah, no, I am downstate, Newburgh area-ish.
That's
yeah.
Yeah, the sun was nice. I don't blame you. I don't blame you for being out in the sun. We've waited for it, so you might as well take advantage of that.
I had to, and honestly, this lighting is usually great lighting, but not right now.
It's all good. It's all good. That's just why we do it. Just got to keep it real.
Yeah. It's giving Larry the Crab from SpongeBob, but that's all right.
Oh,
all right.
Legit.
So
it's all good.
Shout out to Lee Dong. He said, "Hey, bro, I love your beats, RRAREBEAR."
Yo,
see, you guys have no idea. You don't know what you're in for. You don't know what you're about to find.
I've been watching some interviews, so I'm like 10% in the know of what you're gonna get into. But
okay.
I really dig the vibe and stuff.
Yeah,
it's really good. And I love the song that you did over my beat. So that's enough. Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, we'll definitely get to that. So what I want to know is, right, like your name is RRAREBEAR, your producer name is RRAREBEAR,
yep.
right?
Yep.
That's also your artist name as well, right? Because we'll get into that too.
Yep, for sure. Okay. I have another I also make music under, but RRAREBEAR is like my main one for sure.
Okay, so why RRAREBEAR, and also why are there two R's?
So okay, so the name RRAREBEAR, when I started making beats, like we could rewind a second. So I started making beats in 2015 is when I dropped like my first beat on YouTube. But I had like a bunch of like little side projects before then. I'm in a band called Titanics. And then I kind of was doing like little SoundCloud projects and things like that. But it was somebody I know. I took their name and I rearranged it. So it's called an anagram, where you take like somebody's name, like Sammie B, and I would make it say like Moss something, whatever.
Yeah.
I spelled out their name and it said, "I am a rare bear." And in order for me to make it work with like their name perfectly, it needed to have two R's. So then when I started dropping beats on YouTube, probably like, I want to say like within that week or maybe like in that time period, I was like, I'm just going to call this RRAREBEAR, because I remember circling that and I was like, this is a pretty sweet name for like either, I don't know what, I mean, it wasn't going to be anything. It was just like this person's name. But then I was like, damn, I'm just gonna make this under like my beats. But then people just kind of cut it into Rare. So then from there, like I actually like the name Rare too. So that works too. But yeah, it kind of all just like worked out. It was just kind of like it kind of found me at that time, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, super dope. Like I love the name. I also love like the cover art that you choose and stuff.
Yeah.
I love for some reason I love that you like on YouTube capitalize all of it. Like it's just I don't know, it's just little things like that that make you different, that make you stand apart. And,
Yeah.
like despite the fact that your sound is awesome. Like
Appreciate
I have been listening to your beats on YouTube for like so many years. You know, like I've actually been a fan of you before we even began working together. Like I've been like, wow, this is really good. Or
mm-hmm.
I've purchased beats in the past and stuff, you know. So like it's just really cool. It's cool that we got to work on what we've got to work on. So it also you you are in Albany, right? Were you born and raised here or like in New York?
Yeah, yeah. I spent my whole life here. So I'm from like the Albany area, and then I went to college in Oneonta, which like I'm sure that's like kind of like a little bit more in the mountains, like out west, Western New York, only like an hour away. But I've like lived in this general Hudson-ish Valley area my whole life. So yeah, I love it here. I've had a lot of friends like move down to New York City and stuff, and I've played a lot of shows. Like I've gone down to the city to play shows, and we've been on tour and things like that with my old band. But I've always called this like my home base.
Yeah.
So right now I live right outside of the Albany line. Yeah.
Nice. So, are you still in this band or not anymore?
Yeah, yeah. We've done a little bit of stuff. We do more like acoustic stuff now. We've actually kind of pivoted more from like indie stuff to like just doing weddings and doing
Oh,
things like that. And we do a lot of like bar gigs. We do like acoustic kind of chill bar gigs. We'll play for like 3 hours. But yeah, we're always recording. And then I have a lot of my own stuff also under the name RRAREBEAR. That's like me singing. And that's kind of like that's a little different than the beats that I make, because the beats that I make are very well, I guess all the music sort of has like that same vein that I created it. But when I'm adding like my own vocals on some of my stuff, it's a little bit more like kind of like indie sort of sounding, a little more like electronic, like chill, that kind of vibe too. But yeah, my older brother is a drummer. So when I first started playing music, like I started off on bass in his band, and then we were kind of just like it's like a bluesy band doing like battle of the bands and things like that. And then from there, I kind of like shifted more into acoustic guitar and like writing my own stuff and playing keyboards and just getting into production. So, but yeah, I've lived life here and I've always done like different musical projects.
yeah, I know you know, it's said on some type of article that I found on you, like that you're, you know, multi instrumentalist. Like you have, you know, you're talented when it comes to making music. So,
Yeah.
so like, how long have you been playing acoustic guitar for?
Um, I started playing bass in 2004 in my brother's band, and then I was kind of like strictly a bass player from 2004 to probably I want to say like a couple years later, like 2007, and that was like when I was sort of graduating high school ish, and that's when I got into like Nirvana and kind of like those early like emo indie like Dashboard Confessional, and like that's when I first got into like Blink 182 and things like that. So then I started playing acoustic guitar from there. So I've been making instrumentals, not necessarily beats, but I've been making like instrumental recordings ever since I really started playing. Like my brother did a lot of recording like of our band too, so I was kind of around like him recording our band. And honestly, even like the monitors, like the speakers that I use today and the desk that I use are his. I actually like stole them. I just kind of stole them eventually from him because he had all the equipment and stuff. But that was like 2005, 2006.
Wow.
He had a 4-track recorder that he used. And then when I started recording myself, that was way before like I even used a computer. I had like an 8-track recorder, which basically like you would just record 8 tracks, like acoustic guitar, and layer it, and like maybe 1 or 2 would be vocals. So when I started using a computer to make beats, that was like 2015, I want to say 2014 or 2015. So, and the program that I use is Cubase. I actually use Cubase
Yo,
5.
that's crazy that you say that. I only know one other engineer slash producer slash artist who uses that, and it's
Really?
actually really dope. It's really a good quality software.
Do they love it? Because I think somebody who uses Cubase, like they just love
They
Cubase because that's
absolutely
yeah.
love it, and they know how to use it, like, and they wouldn't use anything else.
Yeah, it's kind of like what I learned on. I mean, I have a bunch of different versions of it now, but Cubase 5 is the version that I started producing on.
Wow.
And it's an older program. It's from probably like, I want to say like 2009, 2010,
Mm,
maybe. It might be early, but to me, it's just like really simple. And it's kind of like, you know, the first car you drive or whatever. Like you just get used to it and then you don't really have to. I try not to be obsessed with like equipment
yeah.
and gear. I try to keep things like really simple and like I really don't replace things or add new things to my setup unless I feel like I have to.
Mm,
Even the computer that I use, like my brother helped me build this computer in 2011,
so
and that's pretty old for a computer standard. Like his computer has its quirks for sure. Like it could take a while to boot up, and I think if people came in my studio and like looked at my setup, they would be like, I don't really get, but for me, it just works so well that I'm just super, I know it really well. And I just like, that's what I use, you know?
that's honestly how I was with GarageBand for a while until I was just like, I'm gonna get Logic.
Yeah.
By the way, Brooklyn Rain said, Rare Bear, your beats are incredible, so diverse. FR.
Thank
For
you. I appreciate that. Appreciate that. Yeah. I've actually almost hit like over 2,000 beats that I've dropped on YouTube because when I,
damn.
when I first started, my goal was like I just want to release a beat like every day. You know, I just want to release a beat pretty much as often as possible, like every single day. So then I've been just doing that really consistently. And
Mm.
so are you? So when you first found my stuff, was it through YouTube? I'm
Yeah,
guessing.
it was YouTube. I have been a subscriber for a while now.
Nice.
What up,
And what?
Finally TV? Shout out to Gabriel from Finally TV. This is a dope producer that you should probably tune into, check out, follow. This one
Thank you.
says, I've been following you on YouTube for a long time now. Yeah, me too. I've been following him too.
Stuff like when you found me on YouTube, like were you typing in a certain like type of beat? Were you looking for something specific,
I,
or how did
oh,
you like start the channel?
and I wish I remember, but I think there was some type of sound that I was looking for, like a lo-fi type of sound
Yeah.
or something, and then I came across it, and like I can't play the guitar. Like right now I'm looking at an acoustic and electric guitar I can't play. Like
Mhm.
but I've always loved guitar. I've loved the sound of it. And your beats, a lot of them are that you've especially been releasing recently are acoustic guitar.
Yeah.
But like, so many of your beats have just such a really vibey sound. And so, you know, here's the thing. I used to not make any music to a beat that didn't like give me the chills.
Yeah.
Like it's a little different now. Sometimes I challenge myself to create to different type of things that I normally wouldn't be interested in creating to, and sometimes I come up with really dope stuff that way. But I used to not. I would just skip it. Like if it didn't just give me chills, I'd skip it.
Yeah.
And I found with your beats that like that they gave me chills, that they made me be like the all that, like it was not in under my control. The lyrics are just coming out. Like
Yeah.
before I could even like get to writing or recording, like I'm just singing to it. And I love also that it's mostly singing. Like I rap to some of your stuff. The song that we did was a mixture of rapping, singing, and poetry. So, it's
Yeah. That's awesome to hear. And you're not the first person to say it to me too, because I've had a lot of people who like, they like rap and they traditionally will rap, but for some reason when they hear my stuff, they hear it more like melodically, like
yes.
sing something on it, even if it's like really simple compared to like what they usually do. Like if they're usually writing a bunch of lyrics or like they're writing a bunch of stuff, with my stuff, they think a little bit in terms of melody.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's funny because like when I make the beat, I try to think of this. I think about it in the same way. Like I don't like to release stuff until for me, it just kind of has some sort of like element in it that I can't really describe. It kind of all of a sudden now it makes me feel something. And
Yeah.
oh, there's no one moment that happens. Sometimes it's like I add a certain guitar, or sometimes it doesn't need anything. Sometimes it's just a guitar part, and I'll like play it into my computer and I'll loop it and I'll have that, and it's just like it doesn't have to be complex, but if it's already there, then I'm like it's already done, you know. And I try not to make anything like too complex. That's like a really big theme with a lot of my music.
So before I say what I'm gonna say, Spacehead Life said positive vibes and energy always. Yes, shout out to you for that. And Brooklyn Rain said she's speaking facts. I love singing and more of a ballad vibe at times. And you have such a melodic vibe. Yeah, it's so true. But like I was gonna say that I I make beats as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I struggle with making them minimal. And your beats are so vibey, minimalistic, like lo-fi mostly for the most part. And it's like I that's what I love about it. Sometimes a beat could be so simple and not have too much going on, and it's just
Yeah,
beautiful. Like there's something so elegant about that.
I think I think one of the biggest things that a lot of producers kind of, I don't want to say get wrong because that kind of assumes there's a right or wrong answer to like make music, but you have to leave room for the vocalist to like kind of create their own story on top of the beat, you know? And like it's taken me so long to realize that like I'll sometimes make a beat and I'll have a bunch of stuff in it. Like I'll have like 5 or 6 guitar parts, but then I really feel like I'm making the beat when I'm taking things away, because I kind of like realize it might sound great, but there has to be room
Yeah,
for a vocal like right on top of it.
yeah,
And I really think like, and especially now with the internet, because there's just so much stuff, like it's so loud and it can be so distracting, and it's so like everything's in your face, and it's all about like the hook, and it's all about like the first 2 seconds and stuff, that I like to think that there's like have faith in the listener that regardless of all that stuff, if there's just a really beautiful moving piece, like a piece like an acoustic guitar on the internet, then people will stop and be like, damn, I really like this. It's kind of like quiet. There's an album by a band called Kings of Convenience, and it's called Quiet is the New Loud. And I've always liked that idea, where it's like things on the internet are just so loud and crazy, and like especially now with tight beats, like there's so many different ways of getting your beats out.
yeah.
I kind of like being like very chill, like in the corner, being like, nah, this is my vibe and this is what I do, and if you get it, then that's great, and if not, like it's just not for you, it's okay. You know, glad
And
that with you.
yeah, and yeah, I mean, you have a large following. And now that Brooklyn Rain commented this, I think this is how I found you. I think because she said, reminds me of Frank Ocean. And
Oh yeah,
I think that's how I found you. I was looking for like a Frank Ocean feel. And
yeah.
when I typed that in, that's how I came across your page.
Yeah, so that makes sense, because when I first started making beats on YouTube in like 2015, I didn't really have much of I wasn't really going for a specific sound. I was kind of just experimenting. I was just dropping all types of beats. Like, oh, like, you know, if you go way, way back to my first beats, it's like Drake type beat, or like Tyler the Creator, like Kendrick type beat. Like I was just messing around.
Yeah, yeah.
Did a Frank Ocean type beat where I used guitar, and it was one of the first beats that I ever like plugged my guitar in. And I'm like, I'm just gonna like play guitar on this beat, because up until that point it was more just like real hip hop beats, and people really liked it. And back then, like nobody was really using guitars on type beats on YouTube, so I remember thinking like, damn, I should just start making more guitar type beats. So then I made another Frank Ocean type beat, and people liked it too. And then I kind of just started thinking like, you know, the idea of like double down on what works and cut out what doesn't work, which like seems obvious, but you know, I don't do that a lot. And it's like, damn, like if they like this, then just go crazy with that. And then
Yeah.
my goal was like, it was probably like 2016. I said, I'm going to make 500 Frank Ocean type beats. That was like my
Damn.
goal for a really long time. Yeah.
Damn.
Which I was dropping like maybe 2 a day, sometimes 1 a day, but I think I probably hit the goal. But that's when like a wave of people started finding my stuff, and yourself included. It was
Yes.
like, I'm just gonna go crazy with Frank Ocean type beats, because like he was dropping out. He was about, I think it was right before he dropped Blonde. And like, you know, he had his own sound that he was working on. And I was like, man, I love that sound. He uses guitars. This could be something that I could do. And then from there, it was just like, that was how I initially built some of the followers on my YouTube channel.
For sure.
Yeah.
Taylor Forest Music says, was
Oh, what's up?
what
And how you doing? I love his music too.
Oh, I love this so far. Like, this is super cool. It's crazy because, like, with her commenting that, I just realized, like, yeah, that's how I found you.
Yeah.
She said, I love your Frank Ocean type beats. A majority of the songs in my notes are written to your beats, bro.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
It's so easy to write to your music. It just flows out. And that's what I love, how organic it is. It's so organic. And not for nothing, but like the cover art's organic. Also,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
the whole vibe of your channel is organic. It's a fire feel, like brand, pretty much, you know. And I was wondering too, like, where do you get the cover, like those photos?
So some of the earliest covers, I used to take them myself, and I would take them with my iPhone and I would edit them. Yeah. But now I find I don't get them from Pinterest or anything on like Google. I get them from like stock websites that actually take them. But a lot of the times what I'll do is I'll find like a certain theme that I love. Like, for example, like the sunset theme.
Yeah.
Like, really, really like that recently. So I'll take that, but then I'll kind of edit it myself. So I'll like own phone and I'll kind of crop it and edit it. And sometimes I'll add my own like film effects and stuff, because if a photo is too clean, sometimes I think it's a weird vibe, because you kind of have to, like, I think with the artwork pairing with the music, like I don't want to make the artwork too specific, because that might throw somebody off if they hear a song or a beat, and the title is the same way. The title can kind of like influence what they write too. But like if they're writing a song about something and then they see a picture that's completely irrelevant to like what they're writing, that might just like throw them off. So my idea with the artwork is to make it like a beautiful artwork, but also a little bit vague. You know, like I don't want it to be too specific. I don't want it to be tell its own story. I like it to be a little bit vague, so somebody can kind of be like, what is that a picture of, you know? And that's why I love silhouettes.
Yeah.
Because recently I use a lot of silhouettes, and I think that it's exactly what I'm trying to do, because it's like it doesn't really show somebody's face. It doesn't really show exactly what they're doing, but you can kind of infer, if that's the word, like what this could be about, you know? And naming the beat is the same way. So sometimes I'll make the beat and I'll see the artwork, and then the title will just like come to me. It's all like at one time. And it's like writing lyrics. It's like, it just happens at one time. It's like, I see the artwork, I hear the song, I hear the beat, and it's like, oh, this is going to be called like, you know You, or this is going to be called like something special or whatever. And it's just like, the title just pops in my head and boom, like,
Yo,
first.
It's so hard for me to name beats.
Yeah.
That's why I was gonna do, like, how do you come up with that? Because you have so many out. I'm like, do you even know how many beats you have out?
I think I have like probably over 2,000, like I said. But I will say, like sometimes if I look at something and I'll think of a title and it says like Need You, so I was like, oh, I should call this Need You. I'll have to go on YouTube real quick and type in Rare Bear Need You, and I'll be like, did I already name this, beat this? Like,
just in case.
Yeah. Or like there's so many beats that are like, I like the word sunset, you know, and it's like, so it'd be like sunset conversation, sunset lover, sunset talking, you know, I don't know, like, and it's like so many beats like that. But I haven't ran out of words yet or phrases yet. But sometimes I'll have a book, like if I have like a book, there's like right now I have like a Wayne Dyer book on my desktop, like my computer, my desktop. I'll just open it up, and if I'm like, I'll just read something really quick, and if I see a phrase that I love, I'll just be like, that's it, I'm gonna take that, you know, like.
I like it.
Yeah.
Organic. It's cool. It's different. And shout out to everybody who's in here. Shout out to everybody who will watch this back. Shout out to everybody who has been commenting. Somebody just said, can you read my comment, please? So, you know, there's been some comments, so I'm going to read the one that's requesting that. So he said, hello, you an email and messaged you on Instagram, but you didn't see. He's a singer from Portugal. So that is _ Furacusa. Just so you know.
All right, sweet. I'm gonna write his name down right now. I'm gonna DM him after this.
Dope.
Keep in touch.
Shout out to everybody who's commenting, showing love, share the live. If you're an artist in here who is on the Indie Artist Showcase, that project, definitely share the live, because we're going to be getting into that very soon. So definitely the more eyes and ears that could get on your stuff is good. So also I want to know, like, what are some big name artists that you have worked with so far?
So yeah, so this that kind of leads us into the indie showcase a little bit, because I feel like on my Instagram, like I'm always listening to music that people make on my beats. But on my Instagram, if there's a lot of traction about like some of the big artists, like I'll post like, oh, like my most recent one, I did one with Trippie Redd and Machine Gun Kelly, MGK. That was a big one. I've been working with an artist called Ali Gady recently. I've one with Rod Wave, who's now pretty popular. I did other ones with Trippie Redd also. But it's funny because I usually get a lot of people who kind of come to me after they see that stuff and they're like, oh man, you work with like Trippie Redd, or you work with I did one with Ryan Trey recently, and they'd be like, that's really cool. Like, how did you get those placements? But the bulk of what I do is with independent artists, with like small, like up and coming artists. I would say it's probably like 80-20, like 20% the bigger artists and 80% the independent artists. But that's kind of like why I wanted to do that showcase, because I think like I personally am sent music all the time, but people be like, even if they're like purchasing beats or they have any intention of putting it out, they'll always be like, yo, what do you think of this? I just wrote this. Like, I've never written on a beat ever in my life. Like, I just record my phone, and what do you think? And it's cool to me because like I remember being like an early songwriter when I was like super young, and just like, if you've never had anybody, you've never like played your music for anybody before, like that's a pretty scary. I can be like very scary, like is this any good whatsoever? And I usually try to respond to those as much as I can, because like I like to give like a little bit of encouragement to those artists, because you never know. I mean, like, especially now with like putting stuff out on the internet, but it's like a lot of making music is, in my opinion, like just doing it so much that before you know it, it's like anything else. You just get better at it and you just make it happen. But so that's why I wanted to give a spotlight to like some of the independent artists that like I really love, and like who want to work with me too. So it's kind of like giving back to them.
Yeah, it was definitely an honor to be a part of that project. Like, the other artists on there were dope as well. And I figured, for the most part, the people who would be enjoying your beats are going to be pretty dope, pretty connected, genuine, a different type of breed of artists. So
yeah,
it was definitely really cool.
Yeah, that's kind of like something that I've learned a little bit too, because like we were talking about earlier, like if they can find my stuff on the internet and they kind of can like get the vibe, then I feel like just like person to person, I probably would get along with them in the same way, because like we probably have a lot of interest in the same music. We probably have a lot of the same feelings. We probably have a lot of the same, I don't know, direct experiences, but like, everybody kind of like, you don't think that people can relate to certain things you go through, but it's like, damn, you actually can a lot of the time.
You definitely can. And music is such a huge example of that.
100%. Like how long have you been writing music? Like when did you first put your first song out, or like when would you start?
I've definitely been writing for a really long time, like since middle school. But but I have been releasing music since college, like probably like 2013 or 14. And it was just like SoundCloud at first. It started off with poetry before anything else. I was a poet before anything else. And then I was like, I can make this into a song. And, so it kind of just evolved over time. And eventually I found myself singing. And I'm like, this is crazy. Like, there's so many ways to go with creatively expressing ourselves. And I encourage everybody to tap into that. Because you could really help people. You could impact people while you're healing yourself. It's like beautiful.
Yeah, and like I think people kind of put like these really big like a lot of weight, like, oh man, like if it doesn't get like a million whatevers, then like it didn't impact people. But I don't really even think like that at all, because it doesn't even really matter what it does, because the bottom line is like, if you see somebody creating something, that can be inspiring enough to like inspire somebody else to want to try. So that alone, like, even if they don't even release it, like that alone is enough to inspire other people, because like our actions affect people in our lives. Like whether we like have crazy success or not, like when somebody sees somebody doing something that they think is cool, like that's inspiring. Like my brother's in this chat right now, Mike D Lombardo. So he's a skateboarder,
Hey.
and like he inspires me too, because he's out like every day. He works at a school with like young kids, but like he always makes a point to go skating, and he always makes a point to like make that a part of his life, and like that's inspiring to me.
That's
you
fine.
know, because he could have like every excuse to be like, oh man, like I work all day, I don't want to go skating. But it's like, if you love something, you just do it because it's a release, it's an escape, and it's something you enjoy. And like I think that way about making beats. Like I was lucky to find music like early when I was like 14 or 15, that I spent so many years just making music like for me, like genuinely. Like I would make these crazy recordings on this 8-track recorder, and like I didn't even know how to export it from the recorder. You know, you'd have to like burn a CD, and then you would like put it into your computer, and then it would probably still sound weird because I was mixing it with headphones. And like I didn't care about any of that. I was just making it for me. I'm like, this sounds sweet.
Yeah.
So like first got into like putting beats out, it was like I feel like a lot of the hard part had been done because I already knew how to make music. I already knew how to like make stuff that I love. So now it's just like I just got to keep doing what I already do, and then kind of just go from there. But like, yeah, if you can inspire anybody, then like I think that's like a good goal. Is just to like stay inspired yourself and hopefully inspire other people.
Yep, exactly. And shout out to Mike. I love skating is fun. Definitely skating's awesome. So
You skate?
I somewhat skate. I longboard more than I skate.
Oh,
I'm
nice.
not so good at doing tricks, but I've always loved watching people skate. And skating's fun. It's definitely fun.
I tried skating when he first started when I was like 14, and I was like so bad. It's just like, so I was wearing like K Swiss shoes, and like I was ollie in the gas, and like I was just he always had more I always really like respect skaters because they have like there's a physical like risk taking part of their brain that they're willing to go there. Like when you start skating, like you're gonna fall, like you're gonna get hurt physically, like you're gonna, he's broken his arm a couple times, and like I never had like that like physical like, damn, you're gonna just try to ollie these stairs, like that's crazy to me. But like some people are like that different,
Oh yeah, I love it. Shout out to Brent, Chrissy, and Erica. I see you. Savage, I see you too. What's up? What's up? What's up, y'all? Um, Brooklyn Rain said, I'm working on being more confident singing in front of people, but I really hope to meet y'all someday. Connecting with one another is the end goal with my music.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Oh, and she said you are truly inspiring. Yeah, that's fire. Me too, though. You know, when it comes to rapping, I have absolutely no problem rapping in front of people. I'm getting more comfortable myself with singing in front of people.
Yeah.
I'm not a singer. I've said it in previous lives. I'll say it in an interview. Like, I know that about myself.
Mm-hmm.
I could hold a note. I got melodies in my head pretty much 24/7. It
Mm-hmm.
never ends. Um, but
Who
yeah,
are some
so
influences like when you are
I
right?
was just about to ask you that question. That's crazy.
Yeah, you go first. Like when like for you, like music wise, like who do you listen to? Like what inspires you?
So I think when it comes to like singing, it's different than when it comes to rapping,
Mm-hmm.
or just like music as a whole. Like, my Missy Elliott will always probably be my number one inspiration for music, just
Yeah.
because she's a female hip hop artist who just absolutely changed the whole game.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know, when it comes to singing, like there's so many right now. I listen to a lot of Brent Fayez
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
his voice is
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Frank Ocean, his voice is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
um I used to listen to a lot of like Chris Brown and Trey songs back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
um but as far as like women, you know like Lauryn Hill, her vibe is has always been fire to me. There's a lot of artists to, there's just like too many to even really think about. You know who has been really just, I think is so dope besides like Masego. Masego's fire. Do
Oh,
you know Masego,
yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Insane. Kate Tronada. Have you heard of Kate Tronada?
Yeah, yeah. Like when I first started making beats, I got into Mick Jenkins. And then like so his project The Waters was like one of the first. I always say Mick Jenkins The Waters was the like mixtape that made me want to make beats. That was like made me want to make hip hop beats because he was doing stuff on that project where he used like his producers were using guitars. They're like electric guitars, like on the song, like Canada Dry, and like all that stuff. And I was so like, I just thought it was so cool that they were using these reverby kind of electric guitars. But anyway, the point is on that album, K Tronada did a lot of the production on that album, or at least he was doing like stuff with him then, or maybe immediately after. K Tronada was like sort of in that scene, so I got
Mm,
him like immediately after too. But yeah, he's amazing.
he's
Really cool.
fire, super dope. What's up,
Yeah.
Jackie? So as now I'm thinking like as far as production wise goes,
Mhm.
inspirations for me is like Pharrell Williams, like that whole Neptune sound,
Yeah.
crazy.
Hmm.
Uh, like Timbaland,
Hmm.
you know.
Hmm.
There's so many. There's so many good producers and good artists. They're all, I find inspiration everywhere.
So you
Always.
you make your own beats and you do production too. That,
Yeah, I do. So a lot of more like hip hop type stuff.
yeah. And do you record yourself when you do like your vocals?
Yeah, I do.
That's awesome. And you mix it and like engineer it all yourself too?
I don't. So I've put out songs where I did like a light mix to it to the best of my ability, but
Yeah.
nowadays for a more crisp sound, I leave that to the people who've been doing that for as long as I've
Yeah.
been alive or
Even
longer.
even like recording yourself though is such a nice it's kind of like it can be tricky because you kind of have to go back and forth between like queuing up the computer and then doing it, but if you can kind of like envision what you want the vocals to sound like, if you are a producer, like then being a vocalist yourself is like is a really nice place to be because you can kind of like let the vocals sit in the mix exactly the way you want, as opposed to a producer kind of like somebody could send me a song and be like, can you mix this? And I'd be like, sure. And I'll mix it the way I want it to sound, but like it might not be the way that they envision that song would,
Mm,
so and that's kind of a cool thing about music because it's like everybody that you involve is going to bring their own little spin to it.
mm,
But if it's just you, then like you can just follow that vision all the way to the end and you can kind of be like, that's why I love making stuff myself, but I love collaborating. Like I don't think I could really just choose one of those things because collaborating is really interesting. You just never know what somebody else is going to bring to the table. It could be like
So
something.
I love that you're saying this because when it comes to the vision for a particular song, if I'm in that song, I hear how I want it. That's I'm going to I literally am that annoying artist that sits in while the song is being mixed and I'm like I will sit there for hours with you to make the vision come to life and then like as soon as it gets sent to me and we have a second it one song takes at least one session at least two sessions. I mean
Yeah.
it just that's just how it is because when I hear it back now I know like at 1 minute and 4 seconds was this at this was this and I'm like we
Yeah.
got to tweak this whatever
Yeah.
right but
Yeah.
whatever it takes to make the vision come to life
Hmm.
is what I'm about. But as far as collaboration goes, I have lately been in the mood to collaborate more with random people or people that whatever like in different studios in different places just because I feel like the creative juices will just be it'll just be something so different and when it's like when people could join like I don't know it's been a minute since I collaborated like
Hmm.
with another artist in the studio for a creative session that was just free to create like and I'm looking forward to getting back to doing that.
Yeah. I like, so like for me primarily like with my beats, like as a guitar player, like I always kind of I think in terms of like guitar first, and then I can add my own drums, or I can kind of add like the synths and stuff. Like I can play the piano and all. But for me, like when I think of collaborating, obviously I think of collaborating with artists, because like artists will take my beat and sing on it, and I'll be like, they come up with hooks and melodies. That I if I was singing on it, I would never do that. But I'm like, wow, that's a crazy hook. I never would think about that. But with producers, it's like a really fun thing for me to do right now, like just sending out guitar parts, like with no drums or anything, and just giving it to another producer and being like, yo, add your own drums,
Mm,
add your own kind of spin to it.
fire.
And it's like, that is crazy to me. Like I just had a song come out. I actually just found out it's on the Billboard chart. The album itself, it's for Young Blue. Young Blue and Jacques is on the Billboard charts right now. I think it's number 51. I looked it up, and I track on that. And that happened the way I was just describing, where like I met these producers online, and we were DMing back and forth, and they were like, yo, I love your guitar parts. So then I was just sending them guitar parts. And it's like, it's funny because I'll make the part and I'll send it to them, and then it's like I have no idea where they're gonna take it from there. They might like pitch the sample, they might like reverse it, they might add drums, they might do whatever. But this one track, he added all these drums, and the other producer added like these vocal chops, and that was the beat that got placed.
Wow.
And it's cool to me because like obviously it's if it was my beat, like if I was just gonna put it on my channel. Which actually I do have these on my channel too. They're just like guitar parts, and they're just like my kind of thing. But then when you collaborate with other producers, it's like it takes on a whole new life, and it's like completely different. So like that's just super special. It's
Yeah.
like it's like an infinite thing that like you could send one thing to somebody else. Like if you were to do a remix for like your song, you could send your vocals to like 5 different producers and be like, hey, here's the key, here's the tempo, and like you do a remix, you know, and like you'd have so many different versions of that song just based on the way that the producers like hear you.
Mm,
And that's
that's so true.
yeah.
I love it though. I love it. It's magical. Like I don't know how else to describe it. It's just it's magic. It's creation. Like I love that. Speaking of accomplishments, right? Like I want to congratulate you for surpassing 25 million views
Thank you.
on YouTube.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. It's it's well, you know what's funny about YouTube also that I'll say is like, so like you hear that, you're like, oh, 25 million, like that's a lot of views on YouTube. I started in 2015. If you were to look at my chart, I every once in a while I post it on my Instagram, and it's so interesting to me. If you were to look like year to year where those views are, some years they're really high, and some years they kind of come down a little bit, and then the next year to go really high again. So like people kind of assume like, oh man, he must just be like getting those views every year, but it's like it's really not, because I'm just like so consistent that like even when I see the views going down, I'll keep posting beats, and then all of a sudden something will go crazy and I'll go back up. But I think it just kind of speaks again to the consistency of like I just keep going with it. So eventually it's just like even if it's going down, it comes back up. But no,
Yeah.
not to discredit that, because it is an insane amount of views. But thank you.
Yeah. And over 78,000 subscribers. That's huge also.
Thank you.
That's big. And then on Spotify, you've got nearly 14,000 monthly listeners, which is a lot. And not for nothing, but like most of what you released on there is beats. Like
Yeah.
that's crazy.
So I actually haven't really dropped on my Spotify in a little bit, but it's all pretty much, not all, but it's like 90% instrumental. There are a couple songs in there of me singing.
Yeah.
But like, so what's a fun, like something funny about that is I dropped an instrumental album called Essence in 2016, kind of like when I first started doing Rare Bear, because I was like, I want to do beats on YouTube, but also I want to do like full instrumental projects on Spotify. And I released that on Spotify, and that was kind of like, I don't want to say before Spotify was really popular, because obviously Spotify was popular in 2016, but it wasn't as algorithmic, it wasn't as automated, it wasn't as like I don't even want to use saturated, but it wasn't as busy then. And what happened was I released that instrumental album, and I wanted to get on some Spotify playlists, because I was like, man, this would be really cool to get on like an electronic playlist or whatever. So back then, you could literally Google. I went on Google and I typed in Spotify curator LinkedIn. Like LinkedIn, where people list their jobs. Yeah,
As
I started finding people who were like curators for Spotify playlists on LinkedIn. That was like their official jobs. And then I noticed that LinkedIn, I went in deep with this. I noticed that LinkedIn was synced up to Facebook. So if they had the same if their same picture was on LinkedIn, it was going to be the same picture on Facebook. So I started Googling these people or I went on their Facebook and I would type in like, yo, I'm a music producer. I just made this album. I would be honored to have you include this on like an electronic playlist, whatever. And nobody responded. But a week later, it was on electronic concentration playlist. And
wow.
that was one of the earliest playlists that I'd ever gotten. And it was probably on there for like almost 3 or 4 months. So that was like what started a lot of my traction on Spotify. That was before my YouTube channel was really big. It was just like people listening to my stuff on Spotify. So
Wow.
yeah, always kind of trying to think of like these sneaky ways of getting my music out there. And that time it worked. So I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah. Literally a beat I saw on there got over 1.5 million streams. It's a beat, you guys.
Yeah.
If that doesn't make you want to go listen to his beats, the fact that one beat was streamed over 1.5 million times, crazy.
Yeah, and that one, if it's there's one called Autumn Star, and there's a couple other ones, but Autumn Star, yeah. So that one's also on my YouTube. That was a Frank Ocean type beat. That's on my YouTube, labeled like a Frank Ocean type beat. But it had that like like you can just listen to it. And I really like listening to it. So I was like, I'm just gonna put this on Spotify, and then I think it got added to like one of those playlists as well. So sometimes you just never know what people it's gonna pick up on.
Not for nothing, but sometimes when I'm like painting or doing something where I don't really need to be engaged too much with what I'm listening to, like vocally, and I need something that's chill, like I will just listen to beats, and like you have beats that are good for that as well.
Yeah.
Somebody said release. Brent Singleton said release more vocal tracks. Rare Bear's got an amazing voice. So
Brent's my guy. So Brent's one of my best friends actually. Brent has directed a lot of my music videos actually. So some of the vocal tracks that I've done, if you go on YouTube and we have a song called Over, Over. He did the music video for that. We have another one called Your Peace. He did that one. We've done like 5 or 6 videos. And he's like a video guy. He's like a video director, amazing camera guy. And I've known him like almost my whole life at this point. So when I started doing the vocal tracks, he would come into town. We would take a whole day and like shoot a music video. We did another one called Figure It Out, where it's me chilling by my parents' pool and I'm reading these magazines. Yeah, that's an absolute classic. So
I literally am writing these down so that I could check those out, because I didn't really look on YouTube for your actual like singles, where you're singing, but I did come across a song that I like. So what I'm gonna do is play a snippet of a song of yours that's a song, lyrics and stuff, right? Play a snippet of that, and then I'm going to play a snippet of the song that we did, so that people could hear that.
That's perfect. Let's do it.
All right, this one is called Carrie.
Shout out to
Super vibey.
for sure.
I love that you let the beat breathe also. You let it breathe. Like, I struggle with that too. When it comes to literally everything I do, I overcomplicate it, and like I'm like the mad artist. Like I just like, there's always something I could add, but it's like sometimes less is more. And
I totally agree. Like I think it's easy to get in the headspace when you're making music of like, what can I add, and like what does this need, and like this needs to have another crazy, like this needs to have a layered vocal or whatever. But sometimes I actually think about stuff like this. Like I say to myself, if I was making this music right now and I was on a desert island and nobody else was ever going to hear this except for me, I was just going to listen back to it, would I like this right now? And a lot of the times I'm like, yeah, I would. And it's like, then all of a sudden I start thinking, well, then maybe I'm trying to make this better, like for other people, you know, because I already like it and I already think it's sweet and it has space and it's good. Like, again, if I would sit there with headphones on a desert island, and I knew nobody else would listen to this, and I like it, I'm like, it's done. Like, it's good, you know? And I just try to think of things like simply like that.
Yeah, definitely. So before we go into this, it's on YouTube. Type in Rare Bear, RRAREBEAR, Indie Artist Showcase. So definitely, you guys check it out. There's other artists on there. Definitely subscribe to Rare Bear's YouTube channel. Check him out on Spotify. Follow him on Instagram. Somebody said that's a dope way to put yourself in a creative space and block out the overthinking. Yeah, I agree. I agree.
I think overthinking is like half the battle.
Yeah.
Probably more battle, really. It's like when you're recording, like you put yourself in a mental space there. Like it's you have to just be. And I know in like some of your interviews with like other people, you talk about how like your mindset is just so important.
Yeah.
And I think recording music is like, it's such a great practice with that, because like if I'm in a bad mood or whatever, and I'm like not like, it doesn't matter what I record that day, I'm probably not gonna like it. You know what I mean? I'm
Same.
already
I got it right first. Yeah.
You got to put yourself in a mindset of like, you like, you know,
In that energy. That's so true.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I collaborated with Rare Bear. He made the beat. I did the vocals. Shout out to John at Central Sun Studios for mixing it with me. We sat down, we got it done, and we did it in only 2 sessions, which is
Nice.
good for me.
Nice.
I needed to get it in by the deadline.
Yep.
So, you know, sometimes, and you said that other people mentioned, you know, they went, you know, they matched the whole minimal vibe. This one, for some reason, was very lyrical, and lyrics kind of just flew out of me, and so I'm going to play a snippet of it. It's called Divinity.
The closest thing I'll ever be to perfect is worth it, and that I am. All the work put into becoming a better me, all the steps that I took to make a change heavenly. I'm gliding, I'm just gliding through space and time. Oh, what a ride. Mama gon' love us, Papa gon' love us. As long as they love me, I can't lose focus. I was just hoping I could get a hold of someone in heaven. I know that they listening. That's why you see me wishing upon the stars. Yeah. That's why you see me face up to the clouds. Yeah. That's why you hear me saying I'm gon' fall. Yeah. No longer I'm asking God why. I said, seems like they ain't running on egos, but we don't feed those. I'm in a Pico looking at people, knowing we equal. He in the Kia, she in the Beetle. That woman walking up to the steeple, the beagle barking, little boy pointing up to the sky like, look at that eagle. It's just a pigeon, but we all living our daily bread. Perspective, it's in our heads. We go to work to get a check. Before the day we get to rest, please find the time to reconnect to inner self, self-respect, that self-love, integrity, love on me, and cherish me. Self-care, good energy, clear my mind from telling me to achieve divinity. I must be perfect.
Yeah.
The eagle line is amazing. I love that. That's sweet. That's so good. Also, like, that's what I'm talking about too, like with the beat, because like you guys kind of that one part where it sort of like drops down and
Yeah.
like up. Like, I love that. Like, You know, and I'm making when I sent that over or whatever, like I hear it a certain way, then you kind of like made it your own. It's so sweet.
Yeah, you got to play with the beat. It's
Yeah,
fun. It's just,
yeah.
especially because I'm like, okay, this is a part that I really want to stand out. So to not to like cut that whole consistency of the beat, to switch it up, to do something, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's so funny. Like I played that song for somebody, and they're like, "You should name the song Pigeon."
Oh, Peyton? Yo, that'd be kind of sweet.
I was like, you know, it's really about like me feeling like to be divine, to live in that energy, to achieve divinity. As I said, like I have to be perfect. Everything I gotta do is gotta be perfect. I have to be, you know, the perfect person, the perfect daughter, the perfect artist, and like I have to understand that like that's not an achievable thing. You know, that just being authentically me is good enough. Like all this work that I put into myself, and
Yeah.
you know, just being consistent and being in touch with self, and all of that is what's really important.
I totally agree. And like I think that that's like a sometimes like a tough pill to swallow is especially if like you're a perfectionist by nature or somebody like with artists, like especially now because like when we record our own music or whatever, we put so much pressure on ourselves where like this has got to be perfect because like I have like, you know, back in the 60s or whatever, they had like 45 minutes to make their song. They were like paying by the hour in the studio, the Beatles or whatever. And it's like, all right, well, we only have an hour, so let's just do it once. Like, and if it's not good, we got to just roll with it anyway. But nowadays, it's like you have so many options to just redo it,
Mm-hmm.
or, oh man, maybe I got to like remix this or do the artwork again. And it's like you can just totally drive yourself crazy a little bit. So it's
Yeah.
like, you have to realize that like it's not perfect, and at the end of the day, like if you could press a button and make it perfect, like would you do it? Because sometimes that kind of takes the human element out of it, you know. It's like
Yeah.
in 100 years, like somebody might listen to that track and like they're not listening to that track because they want it to be perfect. They're listening to that track because they want to hear they want to hear your song, you know. They want like a glimpse of like you as a person. So like
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we chase perfection and it's like I don't even think at the end of the day like I want that. I really don't, you know, like you want it to be like you. And
Yeah.
the song's amazing. I love that song. That's a great one.
I appreciate that. Hassan said the guitar beats is sick. Mike said song goes up. Somebody said say that. Someone said rare is the next big thing. Be one with the music. Yes,
Totally,
definitely be one
totally.
with the.
With guitar it's like that too because like a lot of the times when you're playing guitar you can like move your fingers across the and you hear like all those little scrapes like the and it's like sometimes I want to like click it and like get all like you know like when you're watching a YouTube video and there's like all those jump cuts and they're cutting out every 2 seconds of silence, and it's like with guitar you can kind of do that too, but I'm like no, I kind of like leaving like the string noise
I
in
love,
there because it
love it.
sounds like somebody's actually playing the guitar, which is
Mm-hmm.
like oh, you know, you don't want to like shine it up too much because then it kind of takes like the humanness out of it.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that the whole purpose of art and music, especially, is that you want people to relate and connect. And so the more authentic it is, the better. The more human it is, the
Mm-hmm.
better. You know, the more real it is, the more raw it is, the better. That's why I do love your beats. They're so fire. I'm looking forward to actually, so like, you know, we did the whole album thing, right? Like I got a bunch of beats. I'll probably
Yeah,
get some more. And
yeah.
and
Just let me know. I'm down to send you whatever you need. Like I want to just keep
yeah.
like give beats as possible because like you definitely like especially because you got your own studio and everything. Like you're ready to go. You know. So
Yeah, and so here's the thing, right? Like I was like, okay, I want to release that like ASAP, but this is what happens because I have so many different avenues of creativity. Like I felt as soon as this weather started getting nice, I was like, okay, I'm gonna get this song in, and I think what I'm gonna do is work on this acoustic guitar, like your beats, my vocals type of thing,
yeah,
and release that in like sometime in the fall because it's a more chill vibe. I think I'm gonna kind of focus, like switch the focus now to the hip hop, upbeat, have fun
yeah,
summer vibe.
yeah.
So I'll be back with
You know,
these.
actually perfect too because like sometimes I like the idea of doing that. Like that's why I like, for me, like doing my own vocal stuff and then doing like my beats and also like being in a band and then doing other projects too. Like sometimes it's nice to have two different things. So like if you're in the mood to do like a hip hop thing, you can do that and you're focusing on that. But then all of a sudden, like if one random night in July, you're just like, I just got hit with like this emotion, I want to do something, like you can just do that and then just keep that one in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Like depending on what vibe you're feeling, you can put this one over here, put this one over there. Like that, I actually really
Exactly. So not too many people know, but I'm going to be working on Planet Sammie, which is going to be really showing the whole diversity and, you know, the various genres that I work on. Like, so, you know, there's so much more to come. But I want to know before we go, like, what else should we expect from you?
I would say I will continue to drop beats very, very often and until further notice, which is probably going to be forever, you know.
Love that.
I also have a project that I started that's called Cloudy Language. It's on Spotify and it's like more of like my vocal stuff.
Mm-hmm.
A little more like indie chill. It's like it's kind of like indie pop, kind of that sound. So I focus a little bit on that as well. And yeah, just like check out my YouTube. But I also think like I'm definitely gonna want to do another one of these artist showcases because I did this one and it was 16 tracks. Like people who got in touch with me, we kind of like picked the songs and we kind of like made it happen. But I kind of had even more people afterwards that were like, oh man, I wish I was on this. And I'm like, well, now I kind of realize that like not only is it like just cool to have an album of like stuff that I created and everybody else is gonna kind of like contribute, but it's like it's just inspiring for other people to kind of like want to contribute and it's just kind of like fun to do. And like majority of the artists that I work with are independent artists that are just like, you know, all range of skill. Like, you know, maybe they've had deals, they're in deals, or somebody who's like never made a song before in their life. So I'm definitely going to try to compile like another list and maybe do another showcase, like maybe in the fall, maybe when you do your song, maybe you can get another song on the next showcase, something like that. But yeah, fall, maybe like more towards the end of the year.
I think that would be dope. I really like that idea. And with you saying that, it's making me think the artists that you've had on for this artist showcase, and then the ones who like hit you up to be a part of it for the next one or whatever. I think it'd be really dope if you were to be the one to kind of connect us all. This way
Yeah,
we could all support each other. So like if you did some, you know, like a DM group of all of these artists.
that's an awesome idea. No, I
Yeah,
really, yeah,
fire.
too. That's a really cool idea, and like that way people can kind of like get together and like just kind of talk about like making music and talk about like I said earlier too. Like if you're writing to my beats, like at least stylistically, musically, you probably have a lot in common as far as like maybe the artists that they listen to or things like that. So that's definitely something that I'll like look into and consider because that's a really cool idea. I like that idea a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool for us all to connect, you know, support each other. And like when you have more coming out, like we could be on the lookout for it. And
For sure.
you even got somebody right now, Zopoetics. Can I be on that DM group? See?
Stay tuned, right? No, that's a great idea. I really like that idea as well.
Rare Bears unite. Rare Bears of the world, we are going to unite.
The rare nation. Yeah, that's perfect. Sweet.
Yeah.
No, I really like that idea, and I appreciate like you being part of it. And thanks for having me on too. It's been a really cool interview, and I definitely can see like you're like a very artistic person. Kind of like I don't know. It's good to connect with people who can kind of like vibe with the music and kind of understand like where I'm coming from too. Like I can tell you just get it, you know.
Yeah, for sure. We are definitely built for this. We are artists to the core.
For,
So
for sure,
that's
for sure.
just a given. And, you know, thank you for coming on and, you know, thank you for being a part of this. Thank you for reaching out to me so that I could do this when I saw, you know, that email and stuff, I was like, yeah, we're doing it. Cause I've been wanting to, you know, collaborate more closely with you than just getting a beat and whatever. And like to actually do something that feels even more collaborative was really cool. So I'm looking forward to, you know, continuing sharpening up those songs, putting them in a vault, getting them ready to go. Like, I'm excited to hear more of your beats. So, you know, I literally get the most YouTube notifications from your channel and I check it out. Like,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I'm listening.
Recently, so like I've been doing one a day for like a really long time, but recently I've been doing every other day to try to give like each beat like kind of like a 48-hour cycle to like sort of breathe a little bit. But sometimes if I'm just like on a wave, like I'll just be dropping them all the time. But yeah, like sometimes I'll try to schedule them a little bit farther in advance. So you'll probably be getting them every other day. So some like
So,
I want to say though too, like if I post this live on my Instagram and people don't know you, like so where can people listen to your music and what should they expect from you moving into the future?
yeah, so dope. Definitely follow me right here on Instagram at Sammie Bizzle. But on everything else, you know, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, anywhere else, Google it even, you know, it'll show up some stuff that it's Sammie B, Sammie B.
Cool.
And there's always so much stuff I'm doing. There's so much stuff that I'll be dropping. You know, I'm really excited to just continue creating and releasing and going like where spirit leads me, which lately has been a lot of combining everything that I love to do together and impacting the youth. So right now that's been a big part of my life. So, you know, there's just always more to look forward to.
Always. That's super inspiring to me too. Sweet.
Yeah.
It's cool. We're more or less in the same upstate. Would you consider you're not from upstate? Was that upstate New York where you're from, or not really? Like, where do you think upstate New York begins?
So it's upstate because it's not the city, but
Yeah,
like it's really downstate because I'm
right.
like an hour from the city.
Right.
You know?
You're downstate to me, like, but I'm really upstate to people in the city because I'm from Albany.
Yeah.
But to me, I mean, like, I would consider Albany upstate, but it's like, you know, you can keep going north past like Lake George, which is like totally
Yeah.
beautiful. I saw that eclipse actually. I went north for the eclipse.
Oh,
It was crazy.
that's dope. Did you
Yeah.
get any pictures or videos of that?
Kind of like my girlfriend got some, but it was hard to like capture a video. My friend Brent, actually, the guy who's in the chat who did my music videos, he saw the eclipse and he got some amazing pictures.
Nice.
He's in Brent Singleton photo, but yeah, it was really cool experience. It was wild.
By the way, I think there's northern lights coming back around, and I think if you go up north a lot more, you could catch that. So
That was sweet.
Cool.
Check that out too.
Yeah.
That's good.
Dope.
It's a beautiful place to live for sure.
Yeah, Hudson Valley's fire.
It is.
You could, yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
I'm starting to think that people from the city might like realize it eventually and be like, yo, upstate's pretty sweet. Like, oh, go. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, where you live, you can get to the city so quick. Well, like an hour from the city or something.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's sweet.
Yeah. Pretty dope.
Walden, New York, which might be a little bit near you, but
yeah, Walden's closer.
Yeah.
Well, definitely closer than Albany.
Yeah, sure. All right. Well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. So you guys, this was Talk About It Tuesdays, hashtag TAT. Rare Bear has no tattoos. We got that covered, so that part's got to go. You're gonna have to tune in next week to possibly see some tattoos.
Here we go.
But
get one right now. Rare. There's my. That's the worst part. There you go.
Let's go. So Rare Bear, shout out to you. You guys definitely check him out. Check out his beats. He's dope. Work with him. Follow him. Subscribe. All that good stuff. And check me out too if you don't know who I am. So love, light, positive energy. Keep creating. Bring. Yeah.